May your guidance be with our speaker this evening, Daniel Santos, and may be the vessel of light with the teachings that he is about to bring to us. With your guidance, protection, and permission, we open this meeting, and so be it. So, we would like to invite the little ones, and I'll be there soon because I'm still a little one too, to go to the other room. So, as we were saying, welcome to 2026. This is our first Saturday meeting of the year. And Daniel will be talking to us about Trust Always, an invitation for the new year. Daniel, today we're snatching him from behind the cameras. Please don't take too long.
Thank you, Leo. Thank you, everyone. Welcome. I was not expecting you guys today here because the weather outside is not invitational, right? Although the, the topic of our talk today is an invitation for the new year, right? So for those that are watching us online, please click over there, like our videos, share, and spread this news because we need good news, right? Right? And starting the 2026, nothing better than trust always. The question is trust in what, right? So I hope we can have the answer by the end of this presentation. So, in Spiritism, the first thing I thought in my mind is that what in Spiritism talking about this new year, right? We know that, every year we are like waiting for the new year because we wanted to make resolution, right? Although we should make resolution every day and try to accomplish, right? But the beautiful of the universe is that God always allowed us to ask again, right? And to try again. And that's why we have many lives, many opportunities, several experience. Um, and here in the material plane, we create a system that help us to renew our desires, to renew our, our life, right? Our body renews constantly, although getting old, right? Because we know that everything that's matter will be transformed, right? So I took like three quotes from the Spiritist literature about New Year's, right? So one of them is from Emmanuel. For those that doesn't know Emmanuel, he was the spirit guide of the great Brazilian medium Chico Xavier. So in this message, it's a long message about New Year, but I just got just a small excerpt about the message. He says, the New Year is also an opportunity to learn, to work, and to serve. And I put dot, 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 because only these three invitation processes are already enough, right? Learn, work, and serve. Remember that the year in return is a new day calling you to fulfill old promises that you have not yet had the courage to actually fulfill. Let us stop and let this message sink in our mind what this invitation from Emmanuel brings to us. So to learn, to work, to serve is a new opportunity calling us to fulfill old promises. And this is very personal, right? Because if we do a survey, even here, or those that are watching us, how many promises we have made throughout life, right? So maybe get more patient, or get that degree, or travel around the world, or help someone, go to Africa. Many as we say here in the US, we have many bucket lists, right, to do it. And this is part of our life. This is part of the incessant desire to progress. And sometimes we wanted to progress, but we don't know what's the right target that we need. So we try. So our life is sometimes full of trials and errors. And that's the beauty of life, because we can see life in two ways, the negative way or in a positive way. In general, we see life in a negative way when things go wrong, right? So, and then we become a little bit disappointed and think that we are alone, right? But we know that we are never alone. From Joana de Angelo, the spirit's guide of Divaldo Franco. In the new year, let us remember to cultivate the illuminative path left by Jesus by loving the universal family. Wow, she put the bar a little higher because she says, cultivate the illuminative path left by Jesus by loving the universal family. What this invitation is telling us that our love needs to go beyond our family, the family of one, our family, close family. And this is what pretty much was we learned from Jesus, right? He looked at humanity as brothers and sisters. He never. This is me. I hope not. Okay. This is an invitation from Joanna Janches that we exercise this new opportunity, this new year, to try to love those that goes beyond our circle, I would say, right? So is an invitation. And Divaldo Franco himself says the new year is the time to give an accounting of what we have done, to examine the positive and negative action we have practiced, to have courage to face our faults, and planning to correct them on the new year. So it's pretty much what we um, do, right? So when comes the month of December, we start already like, Leo, I think you need to, every time you click over there. What is that? Yeah, so can you turn off the notification? So maybe you need to, in the amplifier over there, you just put the volume, the second one, the one that's from the computer. Sorry for those that, yes, I guess it's gonna solve the problem. That's what happened when I'm here, he's there, right? So I cannot do his job and he cannot do my job, right? No, Leo, you're doing great over there, I hope. Um, so a little joke here for those that are watching us is that in general, I'm not here in the front giving talk. This is Leo's spot, right? But today I decided to, you know, to play Leo, right? Okay, so going back to what we learn in Spiritism, we're gonna bring more information that we find in the Spiritist literature. So the idea of today's talk, since we are starting New Year, is we visit and bring some of those information that we learn from Spiritism. So my job here is just repeat what the book says, right? And also trying to put in practice, right? So all of us. So, and that's what we start, right? So we are in the 2026. And okay, if we look at here in the present, many people live different amount of years. We're not gonna ask your age, don't be worried about that. But since we became like aware of this life, when we understand what New Year is. So my son Raphael, he's 7 years old, and so we are celebrating New Year, and he keep asking, "What does mean New Year's?" Right? So in his mind, not child mind, like so they don't have this idea of time, right? Because they live in the present all the time, instant gratification all the time, right? So they don't have this idea of. So I was trying to explain in the best that I could Now we know a year is like 12 months. Each month has 30 days. Some months has 31 days, other, 30s. And so when we put together, then this is a year. And he stopped and looked at me. And I think he pretended that he understood, but if I go back now and ask him, he still like not get it. But what happened to us is gonna reach a moment that we're gonna learn that. So we know that there is space, there is time, and time can be quantified in space as well, right? So when we reach that point, then we start to make, promises, right? And if we are like it's still like as a teenager, preteen, and we understand that, so we start to make promise that could be more like relate to the age that we are. As older we become, although some people said, "Oh, I reached this amount of years, so I'm not even bothered to make resolution." You do, even if you do unconsciously, you do it because you wanted to progress. You want things to become better. What we wanted to be, you wanted to be happy, right? And for that, we create ideas, we make projections, we create resolution, we make resolution, right? Resolutions. And so the idea is to renew ourselves. Our resolution is always, always to better ourselves, right? So we always strive to feel better. By feeling better, feel happy, all right? So we looking for renew things that is not working, relationship that is broken, accomplish things that we didn't have time to accomplish in the year that has gone. So that's pretty much the idea. In the middle of the fireworks of the, from one year to another year, we send those thoughts to the universe. Perfect, because everything is start in our thoughts, right? Now comes the difficult part. That is to materialize those thoughts. And that's what comes as some of the information, historic information about when this, you know, New Year resolution start. I mean, if you Google, you just Google like I did it, right? So we're gonna find information that this idea of renew of New Year go back to 4,000 years ago for the Babylonians. When they, you know, um, have this tradition of renewal. But then just became more like I would say materialize this idea of renewal in the ancient Roman times. So back then, and I put the information here, in the ancient Roman times, worshippers offered New Year resolution of good conduct to the god Janus, for whom the month of January is named after. So and we know that the Romans, they they believe in several gods, right? So there is the 12 biggest one, right? Janus was one of them. And this um, God is responsible for the beginning, to look at the front. That's why when you look at, there is a coin here, it's two faces, right? The God of two faces. Because one face is looking forward and the other face is looking backward. And Janus is one of the most unique and highly venerated of all Roman gods. Was a two-faced date who looked forward and backward simultaneously, symbolize his knowledge of the past and the future. So we bring this from long times ago, right? And this has been passing until, more modern time. We use this time of the year to make our promises, right? To find happy, right? So, but here, as I mentioned in the beginning, we everything start with our thoughts, with ideas, right? And here we are not picking anything because it's personal, right? People sometimes they are looking for a partner or a job, and that's the thoughts that we live. I hope in this new year, I'll be accomplish this. I'll be traveling to this place. I'll make amendment to this person. I will find someone. I'll divorce someone, right? So we have all this thing that we created personally, and the idea here is what we said before. is find happiness. But then when the year starts, so we are full, very energetic to do this. And I look some research, like scientific research, to see how many people, like not how many people, how many is the percentage of people that carry on this resolution, right? So, and we can see here, this is a paper that was published um, 40, 30, 40 years ago, right? 1988 and 1989. And this paper is about the resolution solution longitudinal examination of New Year change attempt. Um, so, and this is the percentage. And when I look at this, so I try to find more recent information. And believe it or not, what this research found 40 years ago, 45 years, 46, I would say, is pretty much consistent with nowadays. So the paper that I was showing here, that this percentage of people that carry the resolution to the new year is pretty much very close to what we see here. 77% of people that make resolution last only 1 week. So which means today is January 10th. We have like 77% of people that already like gave up, right? 1 month, 55, and the number is dropping, right? 6 months, 40%. 2 years, there are people that carry the resolution for 2 years, and is 19%. So then I find another paper that was published 5 years ago, in 2020, a large-scale experiment of New Year resolution. And here I just, pretty much the paper confirmed and what this result was then. But one thing that they didn't have in the previous paper is that this graphic here that shows more specific type of resolution we make every time we go to a new year. And so for you guys to understand, this is the number of participants here. And this is like pretty much the percentage of what the participant is looking for. What's their resolution? The first one that reached like 33% of people, they are looking for physical health. And then we see 20% weight loss, eating, self-improvement coming fourth with 9%. And I would say like anything from 5 to here is not relevant, right? Because it's so small, the sample is so small. Like the last one is love, right? 1% people is looking for love. But one thing that when you look at that, and I will give a pause, what comes to your mind? You can say a little. When you look this graph here, what comes to your mind? And people that's watching us, you can type in the chat and Leo will read for us. It's all about material. Okay. So then you're saying all about the material part, the physical, right? The physical. Okay. What else? Okay. Oh, good point. Jeanette is saying that this shown that we have, I would say we because although we are not participant here, but we have our resolution, right? That we have the conscience that we need to change something, right? And the intention to change, at least the intention, as Luis mentioned, to change. And that's good. There is nothing bad about focus on the physical. Why? Because we are in the physical body. We need to preserve this machine, right? We are spirit. We learn that we are spirit. But we are living an incarnate, in a physical life. So we need to preserve. There is nothing wrong with that, right? So this what exactly what you guys said. We are on the same page here. So we focus in the physical, not wrong. But something that also would help us would be this one here. That's 9%, the self-improvement. And in spirituals, that is very strong. Is we say in Portuguese, reforma íntima, né? in self-improvement, the inner transformation, right? Because when we look at the physical, we easily can identify the cause. Weight loss. What's the cause of why I'm wanting to lose weight? Because I procrastinate eating, right? There is exception in the rules because there is some people that may have physiological issue, metabolic issues, and we are not putting those people in this category. But majority of us, including the speaker, right? Sometimes donut, sweets, you know, the good things. So we should not, we know the cause, right? And the resolution and the solution of this is very easy. It's just zip it up, close the mouth, right? Right? So, but when we come to self improvement and we look at the moral part, that one is more, I think, in my mind, is the one that challenges us the most. Because this physical one we can quantify, right? I'm overweight, this amount of pounds. I will do this, I'll cut the food. It's easy. I can easily achieve that. But when we talk about self-improvement, then we cannot like look for 1 week, 6 months. We are looking for the whole incarnation we are. So that's why I think the self-improvement needs to be something that needs to be the top priority every year. And then we add the other ones. But when we look this graph is, you know, show what the majority of us human being is looking for in this new year. Again, this is just like a evaluation of the data that we have, scientifically speaking. And this reflect what we human beings, you know, the level that we are, right? Once we know that, then become easy for us to have the, I'll say, the guidelines of our life, right? What we really want to do. We take care of our body, but also we take care of our soul, our spirit. So trust in the divine justice. So I have already mentioned this before, but if you look at our monthly activity newsletter, there is a sentence, there is a phrase that I always keep that never change. Is that keep God first and everything else will fall into place. I don't know about you guys when you look at the newsletter when we post in the WhatsApp group or in the website, but because I have to put this newsletter together, I always read this every time, just to make sure that it's okay. There is no, but this is what we need really to keep in our mind. And in the new year, this keep God first needs to be top priority. It's not saying that God is gonna come here, materialize, or God or Jesus, and but the notion that there is a supreme intelligence, the notion that there is a, um, someone that was responsible for our creation, will help us to become more faithful, hopeful, and strength all these qualities that we need to, right? So it's like parent, like when, for example, when my son is afraid because of the dark, I just say, hey, I'm in here. It's okay. So then he changed. The notion that comes to a child mind that there is no adult around is terrifying. And can you believe for us the notion that we may have that there is no a entity or a force or intelligence that's not looking for us when things really strike us, we can take some action that sometimes will not, help us in the future, right? So that's why we have that sentence over there. But a summary of what we learn in Spiritism about this trust, right? We learn in Spiritism that Nothing occurs by chance. Divine justice governs life with wisdom and love. Daniel, I cannot see this love because when we look outside, well, God creates as the creation. We are creature of the creator and we have free will. So then what happened in our lives, in our society, in our planet is the product of the creature free will, right? It's not God. Although we use the name of God to justify our actions sometimes, for good or for bad, right? So let us keep this in mind. Difficulties are a lesson meant to strengthen the spirit and promote moral progress. Well, you want to lose weight, you have to go to the gym. And to lose weight, you need to lift, you need to run, you need to stop. This is sometimes a suffering for us, right? It's not easy. So, but if we wanted to be in shape, we need to go through this for the physical part. Now, for the moral progress, we need, as Paula always mentioned, what's the lesson, right, Paula? What the when we go to difficult experience, trust does not mean passivity. Passivity? That's the way you say? Passivity? Okay. Doesn't mean that we're gonna stay over there, or I'm gonna trust in God, but I'm not gonna do anything. So that's not the way it works. Right? As Benjamin Frank says, help yourself, that the heaven will help you, something like that. Spirits emphasize conscious effort aligned with divine laws. So we need to make our part. Sometimes we want it to be carried out, right? We want someone to carry us, to do the thing for us. But at some point, the end of the day is up to us that need to like walk, you know. True trust calms the hearts and strengthens faith during uncertainty. And that's why we decide to bring this reminder of trust always. Trust always. Even if we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, we need to trust. That the light will come, right? Because is a test for us, for the immortal spirit, to really go through those uncertainty times, right? And this can apply to anything, right? To health, to financial, to relationship that we don't know how things gonna be, but we need to trust. The future belongs to moral progress and fraternity among spirit. So, because this is a spirit center, we emphasize the object of the study of spiritism is the spirit and the relationship that the spirit has with the material, right? So, how we navigate our material life. So, always keep in mind that the future belongs to moral progress and fraternity among spirit. While when we look outside, we don't see this yet. Yet. How long it's gonna take? We don't know. But it depends on us. Each one of us. Each one of us plays a role in the transformation of our planet. Charity is the highest expression of trust in God and love for humanity. So when we talk about charity and spiritism, we always and we this is a reminder, right? We go beyond alms giving. We go beyond giving material things. We are not saying that giving material things is wrong. No, please do that. If you want to donate your money, your time, or any items, material things that you have, that's fine. That's not wrong. But when Kardec asked the spirits, what is charity as understood by Jesus? The answer is three words: benevolence, indulgence, benevolence, indulgence, and forgiveness to everyone. Benevolence, indulgence, and forgiveness to everyone. So charity and spiritism go beyond the material things. It is an invitation for us to exercise those three virtues, right? And we we not and we wanted to bring some also information from the spirits, especially from Emmanuel and from Joanna D'Angeli. And this one is moving forward, this message that I think is very pertinent for this moment of the new year. This is the book that's not in English, but is Buscas e Acharás. Emmanuel says, as much as you suffer, never be discouraged. A problem is appear. Bring the lesson, right, Paul? Bringing the lesson. I think you copy him. Oh, you don't read Portuguese. Good answer. Yeah. I know this is part of human, yeah, knowledge, right, Paul? We find those information in other denomination, other philosophy, of course. Crises arise, revealing the truth. Trials, a trials along the way build experience. You know, when we have trials, this will make us strong. God knows what we need to be happy, right? That's what will be in the beginning. Moving forward in fear nothing, inquiry in God. So very simple message, but very difficult to put in practice, right? Sometime, right? So the propose here is like, let's start this today. Pick one of those sentences here and make as your resolution. So in the book Happy Life, chapter 160, in the first version, it's page 199. Joanna says, in a 24-hour day, we reserve a few moments for reflection. The person who proceeds without meditating loses contact with himself. Caroled by the hands of the clock, or out in front of them or behind them, he becomes confused and loses his way. A periodic review of goals and action is indispensable to success. As you reflect, you will review your mistakes and have time to repair them. You can program yourself, task, and renew yourself more easily. So I know that we read this book, you know, Major for us has this book at home, and it's kind of like a small message. But when we read this message, sometimes we read, but we don't pay attention really like how profound those messages are, right? So when I read this message, the first thing that caught my mind, caught, caught myself was like the first sentence, the 24 hours, right? And here's the thing. So if we have 24-hour day, it's for everybody. So which means that the question, how are you using these 24 hours? Because once we even did a math here, I was like, in terms of take care of our body, right? If we have 3 meals in a day, and each meal take, I don't know, 30 minutes. So I don't know the numbers now. And if you have snacks, so we are really like every 2 or 3 hours worry about nourish our physical body, right? But now in the modern time, we also use a lot of our time, especially like with this device that we put in our hands, with social media, right? So how many time we stay there, right? Um, we sleep 24 hours, at least like 8 hours is gonna be 1/3 of our life is sleeping, right? For those that do 8 hours, right? If you do 4 hours, then But the question is, when we are awake, what are we doing for our daily life? Let's put 8 hours of work that we are at work, right? We assume that we are doing the 8 hours. But she invites us here to reserve a few moments for reflection, you know. So I don't know about you, but when I drive to my work, a moment that I was driving, you know. So once I was talking to someone, I say, look, I cannot listen music in the car because if I listen music, I completely just. So people like to do that. That's fine. That's fine. I'm not criticizing, but I can't. So if I put, I have to put very low because if I put too loud, if the speakers, voice speakers, and the sound that bothers me. So I just need to put the music very low. So my wife is watching. So sometimes when she drives, it's the opposite of me. I think that's why we are married, right? Because we complement each other. Because when we drive the same car, so when sometimes she decides to turn off the volume, when I turn on the car, the boom, when there, I was like, oh my goodness, this is so loud. And she knows when we drive together, there is no loud music because that's really, it's too much for me. So, but I'm not saying that I'm not listening. Sometimes I put, but very low. But I observe everything when I drive. I observe, especially here in the U.S. If we drive during the any time in the year, right? So the seasons, the spring, the fall. But I also sometimes when I listen something that helped me to reflect, you know. Sometimes I like to listen podcasts and news. But I'm saying this because you need to find a moment for yourself. Other people like to meditate and be quiet in a room. You need to find a place to do that. Other people like to walk, right? Walk, Paula, you walk in meditation, right? And that's the moment you have to really have this conversation. It's an inner conversation, but in Spiritism, we know that we don't are talking to us. We are talking to some minds as well. And this is the time that we send those moment, those reflection, and connect to good spirits, right? The problem is that when we are doing this reflection, angry, then what type of spirit is connecting to us? I'm not saying that I cannot be the exception. I'm part of this rule, right? Sometimes but it's a moment of learning, right? It's an opportunity for us to know ourselves. Okay, so I wanted to finalize with a poem, and I have to disclose that this poem was not done by Daniel. I use AI to generate this poem. So taking the beautiful of science and evolution, I said, oh, write a poem about the new year, short poem. And so blow my mind, like blew my mind when I saw it. Oh my god, this is great. So I think I need to share this with you guys. Forget that AI is artificial, right? Just put this as if it is something divine, right? And it is, right? Because of creation that help humanity is also inspiration by our divine um, spirit. Okay, let's see if I know how to read that. Okay, so the poem starts like this. In 2026, the horizon feels wide, a doorway to future we are ready to stride. New chapters unfolding with courage and grace, old fears falling back as new hopes take their place. The lessons we carried from years now behind grow roots in the soil of a more open mind. We rise with intention, we move with more light. We trust in the journey, we walk toward the bright. The world keeps on turning, yet some things feel new. A whisper that says, what you seek is in you. So step into this year with a heart that believes in the magic that forms when a dream interweaves. May kindness expand and may clarity mixed with the promise that lives in the year 2026. That was a divine thing through AI. that we brought this. I said, wow, this is beautiful, right? So it starts with 26, the year 2026, and finalize with the year 2026. So the invitation is trust always, act with love, and persevere in self-improvement. I don't know if you saw, I didn't put anything related to the physical here, right? It's just like in the, improvement. Guys, thank you. And what I'll stop here because just to see if you have any comment, any question, because what I wanted to do today, we're not gonna have the passes. I wanted to play visualization that Kirsten read, and that's gonna be our passes for the new year. Let us pay attention what she says. But before we we play the visualization, I wanted to open for you guys to share your comment that you have if you have any question related to the topic of today. And Leo, let us know if you have anything. You don't have the mic, I can bring the mic to you. But let's do the follow. Let's go first here. People that are here, if you have any comment, um, any question. I mean, if the question is too hard to answer, I will refer to this information here. Come on, guys. I know that we are warm up in the new year, so what do you guys think about Paula?
Yeah, I don't want you to be lonely and have to ask for something. What advice would you have for people that stop the resolution?
What advice? Keep trying. So here is the thing. Um, we need to be a little easy with ourselves, right? So in the process of us become better, we need to repeat, keep repeating. So if we are stopping resolution, it's because we are not master yet that desire, right? That promise, right? So my advice is that never give up. Keep trying. So if you made a resolution to achieve certain thing last year, you did not. So do again. Because the evolution process, even from our physical body and from the spirit, is based on the law of repetition. Repetition, repetition, repetition. Until one day we pretty much like, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. I achieved it, right? What I'm looking for. So that would be just keep trying. I unless you have a formula, a way, but keep trying. Sometimes there is a saying that says, if you keep trying the same thing and doesn't work, try something different in the same way. Yeah. So, and Thomas Edison, when he was trying to find the bulb, it was not the light, the light bulb. When they tried to invent the light bulb, so someone said, came to him. He was tried like 700 times and said, "This doesn't work. I mean, you try 700 times." So, well, 700 times that I know that doesn't work. So we never know what comes next. So the question is, don't lose hope, right? And try again. Change. Oh, you have the microphone? Okay, you go first.
Thank you. Well, very nice invitation. I was just, I saw one point that I was hoping to maybe ask your help because I feel as Brazilian, the new year gives us this hope. Feels like there's something magic is going to happen when the year turns. And then the first week we already fall again. So I'm very interested in improving my faith, and I think you make a point there, trust, and the trust will strengthen the faith. So what would come first? Because I always go direct to faith. I need to have more faith. But today you bring the idea of trust, and I didn't try in that direction. Try to trust first and to improve our faith so we can continue hoping.
First of all, what's your name? Thais. Thais was my sister that's not in the physical body anymore. Name. Thais, thank you for your question. Yeah. So this is personal answer. There is many answer for your question, right? When I was looking for the topic, that was an inspiration that trust always. And also, I read one of the book, Our Daily Bread, and there is a message about trust. And that was, oh, this is something interesting that I need to explore more. And in that message, one of the pillar that for anything in your life that you need to do, you need to trust God first. So if you read the Spirit book, Kardec started the Spirit's book with the question, what is God? So for us to have faith, and that's what we learn in Spiritism, our faith needs to be an unshakable faith. What means unshakable faith? We need to reason that faith, right? I'm not saying that if you don't want to reason, you just wanted to have a blind faith, that's fine, But when you reason something, for example, I'll give an example. Um, by knowing that there is life after life doesn't mean you you not cry when someone that you love dies, but will minimize, mitigate the suffering because you know that this is a transition. Now, if someone doesn't know, the person really can develop a very deep depression for the rest of their life and keep attaching to that relationship instead letting go. So going back to your question, I think we need to strengthen our trust in God first. And then we work what we wanted to achieve. Hope, faith, job, whatever, right? So we need to have that foundation first built inside of us. How much I trust in God, right? So it seems like philosophical, right? Because it's not something tangible. It's not something as losing weight that you have a scale, but that is the exercise. I think this is me, Daniel. Answer your question. We need to do it. Driving today here, my son Rafael asking the car, and now he's in that phase. He's 7 years old. What happened when the spirit achieved 7 year old? He became fully reincarnated, right? So he started to question. So he asked the question, why do I need to go to the center? Yeah. So I said, well, we need to go to the center because we need to strengthen our faith in God. Not saying that you need the center to do that, but we need to find things that will help us to strengthen our faith. So you may ask, Daniel, how can I strengthen our faith? I will answer by trusting God. The next question, how do I trust in God? By look for place or situation that will help me to achieve that point. Let's bring this reason to the material things, right? How do I lose weight? By going to the gym. But why do I need to go to the gym? Because the gym has weights, has treadmills, has elements that will help you to increase your metabolism. By increase the metabolism, we burn more calorie. We burn more calorie, we lose weight, combined with a health diet. That's the way. Let's apply the same rationale to our moral progress. How can I become more patient to live in a place that there is people that trigger our impatience? Because then we exercise that, right? How do you learn something? By be put in a situation that you need to do it. So the foundation of trusting God is you need to find a place that will help you to strengthen that. Many people is going to say, I don't need to go to a church. I don't need to go to a spirit center. I prefer to go to the top of a mountain or to walk in a forest. Perfect. Because this is something that will help you to make this connection with the God, with God. Now, if you go to the church and you listen all this information, then you go outside, doesn't apply, then it's your problem, right? If you go to the gym and work out and pay your membership fee and go back and eat, you know, the same thing. So then even Jesus could not help us, right? So that's the way I think to answer your question. I think what using what we learn in spiritism to strengthen our faith and trust is for me is the foundation. Jeanette, no, go ahead. I hope I answer your question, Thais. If not, I mean these books here may answer.
So Kirsten is asking,
Kirsten's the wife. Oh my goodness.
brace yourself. No.
Praise myself. Okay.
How can we support those closest to us achieve their goals? And shouldn't this also be an important part of the success within society?
Well, thank you, Kirsten, for watching the talk, and I'm waiting for your, comment when I get home. What goes right, what goes wrong. Um, so I guess the best way is like that example, right? To support. I mean, like it's like example. I mean, you can, sometimes we can talk, but if you express yourself to it, for example, if I every time if I come here to the center, an example, and everything is a messed up, and instead me come and blame everybody, I go and organize. If I start to do this, people is gonna observe. Wow, you know what I mean? So by example, I think we touch more than by telling or the person, the people, right? So I think that's the way we can help. If each one of us decide to incorporate a good practice, how to behave, so this can create a domino effect in our society, right? So I don't know. I mean, that's the answer. I don't know, Kirsten, is this answer your question. If not, you can put the answer in the chat. Go ahead, Leo.
No, I was
Yeah.
going to mention about the second part, which I guess that applies as well of being important to, as she asked, and shouldn't this also be an important part of the success within society? I guess you touched on
Yeah,
that as well,
yeah,
being an
yeah.
example
Be
in
the
society as
example.
well.
And so when you look at history, what in history has last and increased is the example of great leaders, right? Like Jesus. We create a religion in his name, right? So great leaders, unfortunately, there is examples for good and for bad, right? For positive and for negative. And and because of that, people follow the examples, right? So, but the end of the day is about our personal, um, 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 what we individual we are doing in our life. In this incarnation that we are living right now, what type of example we are spreading, right? Anyone else?
I would like to make a comment as well on something that
Go
um,
easy. Okay, go ahead.
that Paula mentioned, and I've seen myself in this situation, right, where we either create a goal to ourselves, and then we find ourselves pretty much in that category of the first week gone, right? Or we get to a point that it's like, oh, I'm not gonna go ahead and set a goal for myself, right? And I think at least to me, it has to do with us creating a goal that is not achievable, right? Something that we think that perhaps we're shooting for the stars, when in reality we really have to find out, like, okay, what's attainable to me, right? In business school they have it's called they use the word smart, that your goal has to be specific, it has to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound as well, right? That you have these, if you put that in incorporate that in your goal, chances are you will reach that goal, right?
Mhm.
So I think that a lot, it's like, okay, yes, since you're using the idea of losing weight, yeah, I want to lose weight, not necessarily I will be able to become Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? In terms of the physique and everything. But we shoot so high that we find ourselves, losing ourselves, and we don't even know how to get there, right? So I think that it's always good to ask for the support, ask for guidance for those of perhaps of individuals that have been there, not only in the sense of losing weight, but also in the moral part as well. And I think it ties also to what you said in terms of let's go to the center. If we need that help with trusting, if we need the help with the faith, right? Or whatever we'd like to follow, that will guide us there. Obviously, we're not going to find it by ourselves or living a life that we just stay home and watch TV. That's not going to help us, anyways. So,
No, good point. And I think you just said something that we didn't mention is that is what type of resolution we are asking, right? Um, for example, I cannot ask to be taller because it's not gonna happen, right? it, I'll be top, yeah, have my life. Yeah, exactly. I cannot ask to be a soccer player professional because the age is not there anymore, right? So, and I think that's the question that we need to ask ourselves: is this achievable? If it is not, let's be humble. Humility is part of moral progress. And Leo, thank you so much for bringing this because that is something that a lot of people miss. You know, for example, I always think, as you mentioned there, I always think about like what happened if you everything line up, if your trust is there, if you do everything. For example, let's give an example, um, a material example, um, financial situation. So you may say, okay, I look at my credit card, my bills. I have, I don't know, 20,000 debts in credit card. For example, it's not my case, but there is a lot of people with high debts in credit card, and you set a goal to pay off those debts, right? So you are doing pretty good, and then we start to cut stuff and save money and pay off the credit card. So when you reach like, okay, the debt now instead 20,000 is just 5,000. And you look at the year, you are like October, right? So it's almost that to, and then something happened. I don't know, something happened in your house or you lost your car and then you need to now buy a new car that will cost $30,000 and you need to give a down payment that's $10,000. For example, I'm just giving numbers. So, is this a failure in your resolution? How do you read the situation? Not necessary, because you carry on the resolution, but now something that is the act of God, as we say here in the insurance, right? Something happened that is out of your control. And we need to be aware of this, that no matter how much our resolution is there, no matter how much 100% we trust in God, we have faith, we do everything by the book, but we need to count with situation that is outside of your control. And if it is outside of your control, how you deal with that situation? You took that situation as an experience to help you evolve. That's what we learn in spiritism. So instead, like, turn to God and blame or to the society or to the situation. Could be like you go to the doctor for a physical unwell and then you find out you have a disease that you never expect. And guess what? Now you need to pay specialists, buy expensive medication, and that goes, is gonna put aside. So is life calling you to pay attention to something different, And then you need to make amendment for yourself, self-forgiveness or relax. I know that's very difficult, but it is what it is. We are in this life to learn about the uncertainty that will come that is not under our control. So that's one thing that I would like to finish for us to go to our meditation. And the meditation is the world healing meditation for the new year. So what we're gonna do, Leo, before you play over there, And we're gonna turn out the light, and we have kissing doing this meditation, and let us follow the word by word. It's 5 minutes only, and then after that, we're gonna receive the water and close our activity for today. Okay. So Isabella, if you can, I'll go back to um, help Leo.
World Healing Meditation for the New Year. Take a slow, deep breath in and gently release it. Allow your body to relax, your thoughts to quiet, and your heart to open to the presence of the good spirits who accompany us. As you breathe softly, imagine a gentle light forming in your chest, a clear, peaceful radiance. This is the light of your immortal spirit, the divine spark placed within you by the Creator. It is wisdom from past lives, hope for future ones, and love that never ends. With each inhale, this light grows stronger. With each exhale, it expands outward, dissolving the shadows of fear, resentment, and fatigue from the year that has passed. Feel this light renewing you. Feel it preparing you for the new year, a new cycle of learning, growth, and service. Now, let this light extend beyond your body, first to your home, then to your community, then to every place where hearts are in need. See this light traveling across the earth, guided by the loving hands of the higher spirits. It brings comfort to those who suffer, clarity to those who are lost, and courage to those who feel alone. It inspires forgiveness, awakens compassion, and strengthens the bonds of universal fraternity. Imagine the planet embraced in a mantle of luminous peace, a healing vibration that elevates thoughts, harmonizes emotions, and encourages humanity toward moral progress. Hold this vision gently. Now, from your heart, repeat silently. May this new year be a time of spiritual renewal. May peace reach every home. May love guide every action. May all spirits, incarnate and discarnate, find comfort, clarity, and hope. Let these intentions ripple outward like waves of healing energy. Take a slow breath in and release. Feel the presence of the good spirit supporting you, inspiring you and reminding you that no one walks alone. Feel the earth glowing with renewed possibilities. Feel your own spirit strengthen for the journey ahead. Now, bring your awareness back to your heart. The light remains within you, steady, eternal, and ready to illuminate the new year. Take one final deep breath in and out, and gently open your eyes when you feel ready.